All right. My audio should be coming in now. I'm going to check on the back end of the stream to see if I'm actually coming in loud and clear. Give me one brief moment to do that, and then I will commit to sign on and begin the show. Thanks, everybody. All right. My audio should be coming in now. Okay, I sound good. I think I sound pretty good. Alrighty. What's going on, dear viewers? This is your gracious host, Kaine Walker, back with another episode of the Monkey Paw. This will be episode 29, where we document the downfall of mainstream Western entertainment. I am joined by my wonderful co-hosts, me and myself, and I'm doing great tonight. Unfortunately, my co-hosts weren't able to make it tonight. One of them is doing, I think it's a family get-together for the Day of the Dead. That's what they told me last time. And the other one, I have no idea what he's doing. I didn't ask. I'm going to ask him probably after the stream. But anyway, there have been some interesting topics to pop up throughout the week. Matter of fact, a lot of them are kind of from a couple weeks ago, but they're still very relevant, which is strange. Most of the time it falls out of the news cycle, but because something else comes up that's similar, it's still relevant. So score one for me, I guess. Cool. Let's see. I think I'm gonna open with this one because it has made its rounds in the news cycle, the entertainment news cycle, even though it should really just be as good as that. Hey, it didn't capture the thing I wanted. Why? Huh? What the hell is going on? Oh, I think that's what's going on. Is that it? Seriously? Why is Chrome not showing up? Let me try again. Because that's weird. It should be capturing. Let me try this. Okay, so this one fucking works. Why doesn't the other one work? I'm so confused right now. Give me a second, guys. My my OBS is being weird, and I have no idea why. No, just that one. Just remove this one. Sure. All right, so that one works. Let me fix it. Sorry. Jesus Christ. Right in here. Makes me so bad, man. Spend all this time like perfecting stream setups and making sure that they don't mess up, just for them to mess up when you go live. It's great. It's amazing. It's so good. I might have to live with this for a stream because this is ridiculous. It's supposed to fit in the picture box. And people already left. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to live with that for the rest of the stream. That's very upsetting, but I'm gonna have to live with that. I'll go ahead and zoom in for you guys. Play with this later. All right. It says from Noob Feed, Sony shuts down Firewalk Studios and Neon Koi. I don't even know what Neon Koi is. The only one I heard about was Firewalk Studios, the studio responsible for making Concord, the game that they killed, were contemplating reviving, and then just killed again. Sony has closed Firewalk Studio, the developer of Concord, and Neon Koi, the developer of their mobile action game. The video game industry has lost 2 PlayStation studios today, October 30th. Neon Koi, a rather unknown studio, and Firewalk Studios. Since the release of their debut game, Firewalk Studios has been a topic of concern. Their game launched on August 23rd and was taken down on September 6th. And it's unbelievable that Concord went down in 11 days. Some of us played Concord and didn't like it, and some did. Even those who didn't play the game were at least talking about it online. Following its acquisition, Firewalk Studios supposedly developed a $400 million game. However, the game went offline 2 weeks after its release, prompting a refund for all users. As of last week, there was talk that PlayStation was considering re-releasing Concord. Regardless of our skepticism and the decision, since it seemed like an enormous task for Firewalk, this happened today. Sony ultimately opted to close Firewalk Studios and take a loss of $150 million. Wouldn't it be more than that? Wouldn't it be a total of $550 million? PlayStation co-CEO Herman Holst has confirmed the news with an official announcement. He went on to say, "Unfortunately, we did not hit our targets with this title," adding that the first-person shooter genre is a competitive field that no. The game was garbage. The game was bad. That's why it failed, not because of competition. Do you know how hungry people are for new game experiences? With all of the re-releases of remasters, sequels, bad fucking sequels at that, and no new IPs to speak of, that's bullshit. The only thing y'all have to do is make something new that people are asking, with features that people are actually asking for, especially with a first-person shooter. You know how many people I've heard complain about the fact that there's no fucking dedicated TDM, and it's on a rotation in a lot of games? Like, you can't just drop into a team deathmatch, do some, like, what is it, 5-on-5 or 8-on-8? Either one of those. 8-on-8 a team deathmatch or Slayer, and just drop the fuck out. You can't do it. Because for some reason, they don't want to make those features. It was supposed to be Overwatch's killer. They had big hopes and dreams, but it was never going to happen. And you knew that when you first saw the game, because none of the characters looked interesting. To be honest with you, even if the gameplay was mediocre and the characters looked at least interesting, people would have stuck around just to see if you could sharpen the gameplay a little bit. But, I mean, they didn't even get their fucking foot in the door because everything about Concord was repulsive at the onset. Not only with the mediocre gameplay, but with the shit character designs. But I'm going to start from the top reading this quote from Herman Holst, already giving excuses to why Concord failed. "Unfortunately, we did not hit our targets with this title," adding that the first-person shooter genre is a competitive field that is always growing. "In order to achieve future growth in this area, we will apply the lessons acquired from Concord and keep improving our live service skills." Really? That's the service? That's the skill y'all wanted to improve? Live service? None of the shit people asked for, which is cool-looking men and hot women and decent gameplay that offered at least something new. The live service is the problem. And the competition, even though people have been vocal about wanting new things. No one wants to take a risk, which it's not even a risk. People are asking for it, and make a new IP in any genre. It's clear that the hero shooter community didn't find Concord to be the game they were looking for. Despite some criticism about the character design, it was simply not a game they wanted to invest their time and energy into. You would have had to rebrand this shit anyway. You would have never been able to release anything named Concord, ever. You would have had to make a whole new fucking world with a new name, new characters, new everything. You were not going to send out Concord, even the name. It was just tainted. You would have had to do some new shit completely. When a project that has had so much effort put into it ends up in this state, it's a blow for Sony, Firewalk, and everyone else involved. To some extent, it's also disappointing for the fans who invested their time. What fans? What fan? Who was an actual fan of Concord? One that wasn't championing social justice. Like a real fan, like I like the game for what the game is. Literally nobody. Concord had no pro-Concord people. It had anti-Chud people. Quotation marks Chud. Whatever the fuck that word means. Fans. To some extent, it's also disappointing for the fans who invested their time and energy. But at least they were refunded, so that's a small consolation. They're lucky they got their money back. This situation is difficult for Sony, regardless of how you analyze it. I don't give a fuck what's difficult for Sony. If you don't give people what they want, you don't deserve to participate in the fucking market. You deserve to lose money by putting forth things that people not only didn't ask for, deliberately tell you that they don't want it. I have no remorse for Sony whatsoever. Naturally, Sony would like to cash in on the profits from a live service game. Oh my God, bro. Focusing on the absolute wrong shit. Live service, dog. Live service. I almost want to do a fucking episode on live service games and why they're just so bad, dude. Just another way to nickel and dime a player. No one wants to make a game, sell it to you, and then just have that be that, bro. Sell like 1 million copies of a game or some shit. Maybe you drop a DLC 6 months down the line. Maybe even 2 DLCs spread apart throughout the year or something. Or, you know what I mean? No one wants to do that shit anymore. They want you to spend your money around the clock, bro. It's ridiculous. However, I would like to see PlayStation stick to single-player games like God of War or The Last of Us. No. No, that's horrible advice too. Again, another experience people have been begging for. A multiplayer game. Of any kind. Co-op multiplayer games. PvP multiplayer games. PvE multiplayer games, bro. Which is the same as co-op. But you get the fucking point. People want multiplayer games. No one's making them. When are we going to get another Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks? And I don't mean literally that game exactly, but like a game like that. When are we going to get a co-op action adventure game again? One as dynamic as that. Are we ever going to get anything motherfuckers are actually asking for? Anything, dog. If we get anything like that, it's going to come from independents. Like, where's the next Skullgirls? Where's the next Hollow Knight? Where are those at? You did. You needed a PlayStation account to play Concord on PC. They tried to do that same shit with Helldivers, and I'm pretty sure that got reversed. Though some countries may still be region locked out of Helldivers. But yeah, you're right. That they did that. I don't know, man. The fact that they just said that they should stick to single player titles kills me, bro. Like, once multiplayer became a thing in video games, companies took off with it because obviously that's what you would do. Clear, and you can tell by the arcade era that people wanted co-op games. Why do people think that the only thing gamers want are single player experiences? That shit is stupid. Obviously, I want a co-op experience. It makes no sense. I'll reread the line. However, I would like to see PlayStation stick to single player games like God of War or The Last of Us, which is something they do best. If they are serious about investing in more projects like this, they have to make better decisions. These games need to know when they're coming out. And okay, I get what it means. And in what kind of market they could potentially be released. Because Concord took 8 years to develop. The market had already shifted dramatically by the time it was released. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Foresight is a thing. It's not the fact that a game took that long to develop. It's that nothing else was coming out behind it. Because a fucking studio can have multiple projects. That said, it definitely does not take 8 years to make a fucking video game. No, I don't have to be a game developer to fucking know that. I don't. Games used to never take fucking 8 years to make. We have history to fucking prove me right. Like, motherfuckers will be making games as a team of, like, what, 15 people? Like, really small fucking numbers. Really small numbers. It was tight-knit studios working sun up to sun down, developing, testing, all of that shit. And the game would get out in, like, under a fucking year. Under 2 years maximum, probably. Anyway. I understand ambitious projects that might take 3 or 4 years. I get it. That doesn't have to be every fucking game. These games need to know when they're coming out and in what kind of market they could potentially be released. Because Concord took 8 years to develop, the market had already shifted dramatically by the time it was released. If you overlook the character design, nothing in Concord was lacking in terms of gameplay. See, that's where you're wrong, because I never put hands on the game, but the complaints I saw was that it played too much like other shit. There's tons of other hero shooters out that do it better. What Concord needed outside of an actually good aesthetic was a fresh take on whatever genre it was trying to be. Sometimes a fresh take is a classic that's missing in the market. Like a dedicated TDM. Whatever. If you overlook the character design, nothing in Concord was lacking in terms of gameplay, but it still wasn't enough. Surprisingly, that wasn't nearly enough to uphold the game's online presence. Because the gameplay, they're trying to talk up the gameplay. The gameplay was mid. Some people might even call it abysmal, but most of the complaints I've seen said it was mediocre, and they played games that done that better. So not only are you selling me something repulsive, you're selling me something that on a technical level is just mediocre. Why should I spend money on that? People will give something mediocre a chance if it at least looks nice. That shit didn't even do that. Surprisingly, okay, I already read that. Because with the likes of Overwatch 2 and Apex Legends performing so well, hero shooter fans demanded more. No matter what the future holds, Concord will remain a bitter lesson for PlayStation. So it's official then. The Firewalk studio has shut down. Concord will never hit the shelves again, and we will never play that game again. It's important to recognize that several employees were laid off, and their careers were directly or indirectly affected by these ventures, and our hearts go out to them. We sincerely hope they'll be able to find new opportunities, and we wish them the best as they try to recover. Great things were anticipated for Firewalk Studios, but the fact remains, nevertheless, that they failed to deliver. That's a fact. That said, the only people who deserve to get jobs again are the ones who aren't trying to shove ideology into games. Those are the only ones. The ones who are trying to put political messaging in games don't deserve work anywhere ever again. Fuck them. I don't care what you have to say about it, bro. Video games aren't about that. Video games are about the video game experience, and that's it. Leave your politics at the fucking door. No one gives a shit. That's pretty much all I have to say about Concord. It came and it fucking went. 2 fucking weeks. It was out the fucking door. and I am not sad to see it go. Speaking of studios closing down, though, apparently Netflix had a fucking game studio. Apparently, never heard of this fucking thing. This next one's gonna be from GameFile. Scoop: Netflix shuts down AAA Team Blue gaming studio amid gaming shakeup. The SoCal studio, of course, it's based out in SoCal, boasted senior veterans from Halo, God of War, and Overwatch. Which God of War? Which God of War? One of Netflix's most intriguing video game studios is no more. Define intriguing. Most of the people I talk to have never heard of this fucking studio. The company's Southern California game studio, one of a handful of internal studios assembled by Netflix in recent years as a part of its expansion into video games, has been shut down, GameFile has learned. The studio, also known as Team Blue, seemed poised to break the mold of what Netflix is doing in gaming. Early hints about the team's work suggested it was pursuing a big-budget multi-device strategy, signifying the ambitious edge of Netflix's initial mobile-focused expansion. As proof of that, Team Blue had made some splashy hires in the past 2 years. In late 2022, Netflix wooed Overwatch executive producer Chaco Sani, I'm pretty sure I butchered that, from Blizzard to build its SoCal studio. Sonny had stints on Call of Duty and Sony Santa Monica before that. In spring 2023, Netflix's SoCal studio added I almost said a different name, Joseph Staten, a longtime creative led on Microsoft's Halo franchise at Bungie and 343 Industries. Staten was exiting the Xbox camp for Netflix to work as creative director for a brand new AAA multi-platform game and original IP. Doesn't that sound nice? A brand new multi-platform game and original IP. He said at the time, that move was widely covered in the gaming press, a sign that Netflix was very serious about this gaming thing. That same spring, Team Blue also recruited art director Rafael Grassetti, who had nearly a decade of experience at Sony Santa Monica, where he'd most recently been the God of War Studios' overall art director. As of October 2024, however, Netflix has shut down Team Blue, and all three of those big hires are no longer at the company. Sorry, I lost my place. No longer at the company. A company rep confirmed to GameFile. Excuse me, guys. So yeah, I've never heard of this studio. I don't know what that means. Apparently, Netflix had a gaming studio. It was just in the news cycle, and I figured I'd talk about it. Also, because it was relevant to Firewalk Studios shutting down, given that it's another studio. Really don't know the significance of it shutting down. Let me see if I can find something else. Because it appeared in the news cycle for some ungodly reason, and I can't figure out why. For the life of me, I can't figure out why. I'm glad this game died, respectfully. Oh, it was a mobile gaming studio. No wonder. No wonder people I know had never heard of this shit. It was a mobile gaming studio. All right, so the next topic I'm going to be bringing up for tonight is going to be about Dragon Age Veilguard's fan reception. And this article from Forbes is pretty much going to cover the majority of the complaints I've been seeing regarding this game, outside of another case of mediocre gameplay via Ubisoft. Um, they've been getting a lot of complaints between a lot of how many of their games. Let me put it this way: people have been complaining about a lot of their Assassin's Creed games having homogenous, very stale, samey gameplay. So I'm not exactly surprised to hear the same thing about Dragon Age, but here we go. From Forbes, Dragon Age, the Veilguard's clumsy, preachy political messaging does more harm than good. The best way to convince someone of your own point of view is generally not to bash them over the head with a cudgel, though that seems to be the preferred approach in modern political discourse and, alas, in entertainment. The culture, being what it is, has lost all sense of subtlety. And far too many films, TV shows, and video games will see a heavy-handed, top-down approach to the issues of today. It's a real shame that the developers at BioWare, not Ubisoft, excuse me. BioWare decided to go this route in Dragon Age, the Veilguard. I've already posted my impressions piece about the game, so that's a different article. Maybe I'll read that one before going to the Steam comments, which I've been pleasantly surprised with so far. Let me zoom in. I don't think the zoom in was preserved. I was worried going in, but Veilguard has been a lot more fun and a lot more engaging than I expected, even if I'm still annoyed with its overly saturated, overly cartoonish art style, among other things. In my piece, I noted that so far at least, I hadn't encountered anything overtly preachy or that one might describe as garishly political or overly woke. My God, bro. Even when people admit that there's woke shit in the game, they have to handle it with fucking kid gloves. There is plenty of overly woke shit, bro. There's fucking top surgery scars in the shit. That's not overtly political. Anything that normal people have or don't have, they include in the game. Or exclude. No big ass, big breasted women. No pretty women. No masculine, muscular fucking men. It's all big chin having women, and fucking a whole bunch of mainstream woke shit. It's wild, bro. There's plenty of overly woke shit. There's characters in a magical world mentioning that they're non-binary when you could literally drink a potion that just changes your sex. You could quite literally use magic to change yourself. but for some reason the writers neglect to include that for whatever reason. We know the reason, but for the sake of discussion and expression, I chose to phrase it that way. We know it's agenda driven. Where was I? Oh, I hadn't encountered anything overtly preachy or that one might describe as garishly political or overly woke. Yeah, maybe you didn't, but it's definitely there. The game is diverse. The game is diverse and gives you options to play as male, female, or trans, but in my time with it, this felt mostly like giving gamers more choice and freedom, and I'm all for that, especially in an RPG where choice and freedom are largely the point. You see, this is the thing that's weird to me, right? Trans people inherently acknowledge the binary because they transition from one sex to the other. So, like, why is there a trans option? You know what I mean? By having a trans option, it's admitting that you're neither male or female. You're something else. Anyway, I don't. If you were someone who had gender dysphoria, I don't see why you wouldn't just play as the sex you want it to be. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Did I read this whole line? The game is diverse and gives you options to play as male, female, or trans, but in my time with it, this felt mostly like giving players more choice and freedom, and I'm all for that, especially in an RPG where choice and freedom are largely the point. Sure, but shit has to make sense in my opinion. Other big games in recent years have done the same thing, but I had not yet arrived at a certain section of the game that has now been making the rounds on social media, being roundly and rightfully mocked. Unfortunately, the scene in question will play directly into the narrative that the game is woke, feeding a cycle of online discourse that goes nowhere but earns a lot of clicks. Unfortunately, I'll have to tell the truth. That's basically what he just said. Unfortunately, I'll have to tell the truth and tell my ideological enemies that they're correct. But here it is. Like, this is wild, bro. People can't just tell the truth. They have to be like, oh, I have to agree with those people. Whatever. It will undoubtedly turn many gamers off entirely, not necessarily because they're unsympathetic to trans rights, but because they're tired of being preached at. Exactly. At the very fucking least, you put that in there. At the very fucking least, you put in that just because I don't want to hear some shit, it doesn't mean I hate the people that it's related to. Thank you, at least for that. Fair play for that one. I'm so tired of that fucking intellectually lazy bullshit. I don't know what the fuck to do. If I simply don't want to hear some shit that's been going around incessantly, that means I dislike or have hatred towards that group of people. That shit is just stupid. Can I just not want to hear it? Continuing. In the scene in question, below, one character misgenders another. To atone for this sin, she does a set of push-ups, then lectures the other characters on how to properly apologize. The term non-binary is thrown around despite this being a word that very few people had even heard of when Dragon Age Inquisition came out a decade ago, let alone in a fantasy setting divorced entirely from the real world. Exactly. I really wish you would specifically bring up how magic works and how magic literally makes it so this problem doesn't exist, but no one wants to do that. Like, with magic, gender dysphoria is essentially cured. Just make a potion to make yourself into the thing you want to be, and presto. There you go. The problem is gone. This is immersion breaking. Frankly, it's written so poorly that it comes across as self-parody. The character's performative apology is shallow and empty, as all performative apologies are. In my experience, a simple and genuine sorry is better than making a big show of it and then bragging about how much better your apology is. Yeah, it's one of those and everyone clapped type of fucking Reddit posts that they put in a video game. How's it going, Toast? Thanks for joining. The whole scene feels freshly cut from some conversation in an underground gender studies class in the year 2024. The kind of conversation said undergrads will someday look back on and cringe over. Here's the scene. If you don't want this game spoiled for whatever ungodly reason, because you just want to play this fucking politically charged game, leave now. I doubt anyone does, but I'm gonna do the spoiler shit anyway. Okay. Okay, so Eric Kaine posted this on Twitter. There is a better, more subtle way to include... I guess we can read it from Twitter. There is a better... Let me zoom in again. There is a better, more subtle way to include a trans character in your fantasy game that does not involve a performative apology and a lecture using parlance that has no place in a game like this. This is basically self-parody. It's a shame. It's a shame because the game is, in my opinion, still quite fun. It's funny how people have to say "in my opinion" when their opinion sucks. Like, this shit, like, what you don't understand by saying something like that is that you're completely ignoring the fact that in an RPG, it's probably the only game where story matters literally just as much as gameplay. So if the story is shit, if the dialogue is shit, if every aspect of the writing is shit, then 50% of the experience for an RPG is shit. 50% is fucking failing. So if the story is intrinsically part of the experience, how can you say the game's fun even with the gameplay, it being an RPG? Especially when I've seen the gameplay and I've seen people play the shit and complain about it. And enemies are fucking damage sponges. and the warrior class has a fucking drop kick, which definitely fits in a fantasy setting. Yeah, the classic the classic skill of drop kick. Whatever. Maybe if they had more things in the game other than that, I'd feel better about them including drop kick. But whatever. It'd have to be something like Dragon's Dogma that has an even spread of stuff. But no, I definitely don't believe the gameplay is fun, especially when I've fucking seen it. Let's watch this scene. Let me stop fucking talking.
Pounding that snake's nose. She's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties. I was so proud.
Oh,
Ah, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
Dear God.
What are you doing?
Pulling a barv.
Oh, okay.
a barv?
Tradition in the Lords of Fortune from one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot. Bad blood among your crews, not good for morale, but there's not always time for big drawn-out apologies.
So much fucking talking.
So when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling a barv. Oh, there we go.
I'm glad the Lords of Fortune have Tarsh's back.
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Really?
It was a little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours.
Huh.
Bastard looked better than I did in a dress or pants. And out of them, too.
Dear God.
Any reason you can't just apologize?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling a barv, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, you know, I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that it's on everyone else to smooth it over and make them feel better.
Oh, okay, yes, some people might do that.
Pulling a barv puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix
Oh my God, this cutscene is long. That shit was 2 minutes. It felt like a million years. Okay. Let's see the comments. Scenes. Okay, let me read this. My bad. I'm wiping my eyes. Fucking itchy eyeball. Scenes and dialogues like this are popping up everywhere. The suspect is that most of the game is this way, with also a bland gameplay and non-threatening piloted dialogue choices to avoid any conflict. This person is on the money. There is no sarcastic or asshole fucking dialogue options because everyone has to be nice. You can't be evil in this game because that's what people play video games for, to be fucking pigeonholed into being the good guy. Not even morally ambiguous, just the good guy. Whatever. Looks more like a bad group therapy session, yep. I haven't... Alright. Listen, I'm willing to give Forbes and some of the people who write for it props for pointing out the problems in the entertainment industry right now. But cut the shit, man. Like, why can't you just tell the whole truth? You haven't seen any other video game with preachy-ass political messaging? I haven't encountered any. This person said scenes and dialogues are like this are popping up everywhere, signifying that this shit is in other games, right? This guy says, I haven't encountered any. You've encountered none, bro. You haven't seen any woke games. None. Are you serious? There's an entire mission where Peter is just apologizing to MJ the whole fucking time. There's a scene where Peter literally says to Miles, why would the city need me when it has you? Like, like he's fucking old or some shit. They made the original Spider-Man contemplate giving up his place as the hero of New York to some new motherfucker, bro. And you haven't seen any preachy bullshit. There's an entire mission in the newest Spider-Man game where you have to set up a gay couple. No preachy bullshit, bro. None. You haven't seen any? That's bullshit. You have your eyes closed, dog. And this is why it's hard for me to take some people seriously. Because, like, you'll admit something somewhere and then bullshit somewhere else. Like, do you just not play video games and pay attention to the fucking entertainment landscape? That can't possibly be true, being a writer for Forbes. He said, sure as sure, how does BioWare cock taste? I'm not going to lie to you, bro. That's kind of how I feel, because it's bullshit. What do you mean you haven't encountered any? That's bullshit. It's just not true. I don't believe you. Dustborn, Spider-Man 2, fucking Concord. Are you serious? There's more. Goodbye Volcano High. There's way more, bro. It's bullshit, dude. Let me see. This person says, in my honest opinion, the main problem is that instead of writing a character that is trans, quotation marks, they write a trans character. See, I get where he's going with this. It's a character that makes their identity their entire personality versus a character with a personality that happens to have a certain identity. The problem is that doesn't work here because trans characters should literally not exist in a fantasy setting because you can fix the shit with magic. You can literally just make it not be a thing with magic, and there's no reason why that wouldn't be fucking common. There's just no fucking reason. It would be the normal thing to do. Somebody's born with the fucking gender dysphoria. They take a gender reassignment potion, and now they're literally a woman or literally a man. There's no scars that need to be involved. You just transmogrify through magic. And the only way anyone would know that you were born of a different sex is you would have to tell them. You would literally have to tell them. I don't even want to read the rest of this comment because of that one fact. Like, it just shouldn't exist because magic. Nothing like including a struggle session. Outside of cringe like this, have you noticed you have to be agreeable with the other NPCs that join you? I mean, yeah, I just said this. You can't be evil or an asshole or sarcastic in the game. It's not allowed. I mean, yeah, it's not entertainment anymore. It's completely devolved into being propaganda. Now he's running interference. See, again, bro, this is the shit I'm talking about. They'll admit something in one place and then run interference in another. There are a range of responses, some of which are joking / mocking. You can definitely be a jerk at times. No, you can't. I've been watching people play this game. No, you fucking can't. You can't be evil in this game. You can't even have dialogue that starts a fight. In other RPGs, you can literally scrap with motherfuckers from the dialogue menu. You can say something like, I'll see you in hell, and then conflict ensues. That shit does not happen in this game. Can you even kill NPCs in this shit? I don't know. There's no clear-cut renegade path. That's exactly the complaint, you goofball. That's exactly the complaint. You can't be a bad person in the RPG. You can't be evil on purpose in the RPG. It's not all nice responses, though. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You're pigeonholed into being the good guy. Concord inspired, maybe. I've had enough of these comments because I don't want to read some of these. Like, I don't like centrism. I hate centrism more than I hate somebody being in complete disagreement, because at least they've picked their side, right? They've picked an argument and they're sticking with it. For the centrist, they have to literally ignore details from either argument that makes one objectively correct or have more evidence in one direction than the other for them to remain in the center. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's not like a philosophical debate where there could be a validity for both sides. It's whether or not propaganda exists in our entertainment. That's a fact, bro. It's there. People are saying they don't want something, and it's being shoved down their throat, bro. It is verifiable. There is no center of this position. So I wanted to take a look at some of the Steam discussions about this game. So here we are. I'm just on the Dragon Age Veilguard discussion page. Dragon Age the Veilguard is really bad. Okay, so this is from a forum, RPG Codex. Let me go ahead and start reading. I've had the unfortunate task of reviewing this game and just finished. I know you're all making fun of this turd, but it's worse than you think. First off, regarding all the woke shit, there's a lot. Believe you me, there is a shit ton. I mean, the central personal development of Tosh is that she is a woman who wants to be a man, which is probably also why they designed her to look like one. In the spoilers below is a pic from a fairly early conversation, in case there are actually self-harming people among you intending to play this and don't want to be spoiled. Where Tash is talking about how she wants to dress like a man, that she hates dresses, and that no one wants to be a woman, and so on, and Neve trying to cheer her up. To be fair, there is actually an option to not sympathize and essentially tell Tosh to get her shit together in this conversation, though it's inconsequential. Anyway, point is, it's woke as fuck. Now, that's all well and good, but it gets a lot worse because regardless of political and ideological agendas, if we're looking at this game from a purely mechanical perspective, it still reeks. I can't give you an example of a single mechanic I enjoyed. The crafting is laughable. Itemization is horrible. Character builds and progression are meaningless, and the combat is the worst offender. It's beyond simplistic, with every class and subclass feeling largely the same. The enemies all feel the same too, and the only difficulty the game provides stems from enemies having an absurd amount of health, making a lot of fights a real slog. Yep, I saw that shit. Complete fucking damage sponges. I know a damage sponge when I fucking see one. New enemies appear out of nowhere, attacking you in waves. You may think you're going up against 3 Darkspawn, but nah. Have fun grinding down these 6 waves of teleporting cunts that'll never kill you, but take 10 minutes to finish off. The absolute worst part of combat is the way the party looks. You don't have a party. Not really. Mechanically, it works like a retarded card deck builder. You see your 2 companions are immortal. They have no health bars, and aren't targeted nearly as much by enemies in battles, like yourself. They're mostly ignored and do little damage besides. I saw that shit too. Companions don't kill shit. Ever. I don't even think you can give them new equipment. Instead, they only serve one real purpose in battles. For you to use their abilities. They can have 3 equipped at a time, as can you. And these ability cards are the only stuff that does any significant damage. You're supposed to figure out combos, but there's nothing to figure out. Use ability X to give an enemy the effect Y, then use ability Z that does extra damage against enemies affected by Y. It's banal at best. Moreover, all these abilities come with a cooldown. A cooldown they fucking share. Meaning once you use one, all 3 go on cooldown. There's a few exceptions to this. which means you'll spend most of your time simply auto-attacking and dodging enemies whilst waiting for the cooldown to end. I could go on and on and on, but I won't. I have an actual review to make before the embargo lifts. This game is an utter mess, and anyone giving it a positive review can never be taken seriously again. Sounds like a real critic to me. Let's look at some of the responses to this review. Damadias. It must have been too late into development when they had to switch from being a live service multiplayer game to fully flesh out the companions. That was a joke. I get it. Indeed, it's like Dragon's Dogma 1 and 2 companion system, but without the combat gameplay part. I can't verify that completely, but something tells me that Dragon's Dogma pawn system is better than Dragon Age's companion system. Something tells me it just is, because Dragon's Dogma, its pawn system is like some very unique shit. You can pick whatever companion you want ever. No, and you can literally just go find one in the Rift. Just any build you can think of, you can just find that bitch. So I'm pretty sure any moveset you want, I'm pretty sure the pawn system is just outright better than most companion systems, actually. But especially Dragon Age Veilguards. Yeah, Toast, you can't be mean or you can't be evil at all. It's not a choice. I don't even know if there's a bad ending. Let's see. You ask me, how do you feel about violence / darker themes in story / games? Do you feel like it would take a bit of research to learn how to write said topics such as PTSD, SH, and such? No. I think those themes belong in a lot of games. That's where adult themes come from. That's where the mature themes in games come from. It's about the darker parts of the human experience, the philosophical discussions regarding those, the tragedies therein. Like that's where the best stories come from. That's why people like Silent Hill so much. That's why people like the original The Last of Us so much. That's why people like even Dark Souls. There's a lot of games that have very interesting stories, and it is specifically because they are edgy. They talk about real tragedies that people face all the time. Now, the second part of your question is tricky because I don't think it's hard to write about those topics because the only thing you have to do is simply write about them. Just do it. But the hard part in just writing about them is being accurate, which does involve research. So I guess the answer there would be it is simple, but not easy, because getting something right when it comes to those topics is difficult. But it is simple. Just fucking do it. Just write about a tragic issue. Write a story that entails a main character going through whatever fucking issue you want, and then have a character development driven story about that. Like Fight Club. Fight Club did that shit with mental illness and DID, dissociative personality disorder. I think that's what it was. The Last of Us did it with Joel losing his original daughter, gaining a surrogate daughter, struggling with becoming close to another person, yada yada, blah blah blah. Like, it's not hard to come up with concepts like that. The hard part is getting it right. It's just that a lot of people in the entertainment industry are creatively fucking bankrupt. Like, there's so much good media out here that has the literal blueprint. There's entire trope databases you could use to construct the perfect original tale. They just don't have the fucking imagination. And that's why they've clung so heavily to political ideology. It's because they have no identity. They don't have one. Identity politics is for people who don't have an identity. Delaney67, RPG Codex is the most childishly edgy site ever. And I mean both the staff and the regular posters. You added nothing to the discussion. Why are people shit talking Dragon's Dogma's companion system? Dragon's Dogma's companion system is like the best companion system in all of gaming. It's the best one. You can literally pick any archetype you want, and they actually kill things. They're effective in combat. Like, you can pick any moveset you want, give them all the best gear. Their companion system is the best. The best one. I challenge you to find a better one. No bullshit. I challenge you to find a better one. Swear words and woke argument aside, seems in line with what other reviews said, both from newspapers, publications, and YouTubers. I mean the serious ones, not the ones that give high scores to SW Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws, another example of an overly preachy woke game that guy has apparently never encountered before. Bullshit, dude. I wanted to give that Forbes article credit, but it's just such bullshit, dude. What do you mean you haven't encountered any others? Are you fucking kidding me? Where have you been? Crowsaith, that's an understatement, dude. Watching the Skill Up review right now on this game is so bad, which is funny because Skill Up is another one of those characters. Another one of those review places. I don't know if Skill Up is one person or a company, but Skill Up is one of those review places that will admit something in one place, but then run interference elsewhere. I don't understand that shit. Like, tell the whole truth. Don't tell a half truth. Like, the Forbes guy admitted that Veilguard was woke, but for some reason, nothing else woke. He's never encountered anything else woke. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Huh? That's clearly not true. Skill Up is known for shilling a lot of fucking trash-ass propaganda games, and recently they actually gave a real, honest critique of Veilguard, which is out of nowhere. That's why everyone's so shocked about it. And you know what? I'm starting to think that shit is a premonition. A lot of these fucking pretenders and hacks who are running interference and being willfully ignorant / just lying about the existence of this shit in entertainment, they're going to start singing a different tune here pretty soon, because it's getting to the point where people who don't even fucking know about any of this culture war bullshit are pretty much just completely aware of it now. And it's because they've been beating the shit out of everyone with it. They've been beating people over the head, getting clubbed, bro. You're getting jumped. You're getting Batman-style Predator fucking takedown by all this shit from the shadows, dog. And it's incessant. That's why people are starting to admit it now. Like, it's getting to the point where they have to tell the truth because their credibility will finally be held up to scrutiny. Because the audience is going to be like, yeah, no, you're fucking wrong. All of this shit you say isn't in the game actually is, and you don't bring it up. Everything you're saying is good about the game is actually fucking garbage, and you're wrong, right? Like, I'm foreseeing that being around the fucking corner. I don't think they can keep this fucking grift up much longer. And I mean the correct usage of the term grift, in which you sell people ideas you yourself don't believe in. Let's read some more comments. Oh yeah, the Dragon Blight mechanic in Dragon's Dogma. See, the companion system is so good, the developers decided to fucking ruin it with this stupid fucking mechanic. They did the Dragon's Blight mechanic in Dragon's Dogma 2 specifically because they don't want you relying on your companions too much. So you have to pay attention to their eyes glowing red and them becoming snarky with you and them straight up disobeying your orders. Again, I have no idea why they added this mechanic to Dragon's Dogma. It's fucking stupid. But no one wanted it. It's not good. But this was their way of nerfing the companion system. That's how fucking good it is. You can literally just outfit your companions with the best gear and just sit back and watch. Okay. Next person, Karam. What I've seen from streams so far, this game is horrendous. What the fuck? This is a run-on sentence. This game is horrendous. Dialogue straight from political correctness hell. Story does make barely, god damn it, and broken English. The story barely makes sense. Characters from previous entries completely changed. Characters don't take their situation seriously at all. The music is generic. The art style hits me hard with Uncanny Valley, especially the characters. And the combat looks decent. The combat does not look decent. Why are people saying that, bruh? I've seen good combat, bro. That shit looks terrible. It looks like mash square, dodge, mash square, damage sponge enemies. Like, that shit looks like, it looks like God of War's combat. And I don't mean classic God of War's combat. I mean the new God of War's. But damn, this isn't what Dragon Age should be. This is generic fantasy age, entry 0815 guard, whatever. This person didn't believe the protagonist only had 3 combat abilities. They do. Man, I really wish I really wish a fantasy game would just make a combat system. Like a combo system, a beat 'em up hack and slash style combat system where you can change your skills, kind of like what Black Desert does. Pretty much exactly like what Black Desert does. Like, I wish someone would actually just make that. I know Black Desert exists, but I'm pretty sure that shit's like an MMO. Just make a co-op game. Make a co-op game with those mechanics. It doesn't have to be a fucking Dynasty Warriors thing either. It could be like a raid type game. I don't know. I would have to brainstorm this idea. But there's a game there. There's definitely a game there that I'm thinking of. It could be like a Monster Hunter type game. Like Monster Hunter meets Final Fight meets Dragon Nest. It could be like a dungeon crawler or something. Anyway, I'm dwelling on this too long. Somebody replied to this directly. 100% agree, Wokefest. The companions stink, nothing to gravitate to, missing all the characters that made Dragon Age. Dragon Age, they made this a political piece of shit, mostly the lead developer, I guess due to him trying to become a... Oh boy. This person is suggesting that the politics are in there because the developer... They're suggesting that the politics are so heavy-handed because the developer themselves is trans. I don't think that's a bad conclusion to draw at all. I don't. He thinks it's okay to shove his ideals into the game for consumers. So disappointed. I just hope Mass Effect is not the same, bruh. Stop having hope. Stop having hope that anything will change from the AAA landscape, bro. Just stop. It's not coming back. It's dead. It is never coming back, and if it does come back, it won't be the same. It's going to come back with some scars. And yet, why is it doing so well? No joke. I've watched about 2 hours of stream of Veilguard, and I can't understand for the life of me why it's rated as number 3 bestseller this week. The game just feels and looks like Inquisition, but with even less soul, because now the characters are all bad looking and soulless. The sales on this shit is actually good. That's surprising. Doesn't matter, because sales don't determine what makes a game good. Thank God for that. Let's see the reviews on this shit. Store page. Let's go to the store page first. Oh my God. Okay. Mostly positive. Oh my God, this shit gotta be botted. First tag on this bitch is LGBTQ+. The other tag is politics. This shit gotta be botted, bruh. It has to be. Let's go look at some reviews. There's no fucking way this shit is mostly positive. You're bugging. Look at this shit already. 3,573 people found this review helpful. Not recommend. 2,466 people found this review helpful. Not recommend. I hate when people try to find salvageable things in something that's clearly garbage, but they made a pros and cons list. Let's take a look at this. If I can get the fucking comments to open. Wow. Oh, that's not my stuff. That's Noise's stuff. Oh, never mind. That's Speed Racer. I think she's talking to Speed Racer. I don't make music. They're really not going to let me upload the comments? Let me see if I can open my Steam and find the fucking comments. We're reading these fucking reviews. I don't give a fuck. That shit is happening. We're reading these goddamn reviews. This shit has 667,187 reviews. Wow. Dear Lord, bruh. This is an interesting looking graph. Man. Give me 1 second. Review type. So there's 911,509 reviews in total. Over 664,914 positive. We're gonna look at both of those. But firstly, let me see if I can get my Steam on screen, because we're looking at these fucking comments. I don't give a shit. We're looking at them. That shit is happening. Let me see. Okay. I don't know if I can zoom in, because this is the Steam app, and this is not. This is absolutely not fucking what's it called? This is not a web page. Damn, I can't make this bigger. I'm sorry, guys. But let me just read some of the negative comments. So in the past 30 days, I'm reading the first one. It says, not recommend. This comment long as hell. One of the fucking comments is in Japanese. The other ones are, ugh. Oh shit, never mind. Oh my god. None of the comments are actually acknowledging any of the woke stuff in it. Isn't that funny? What the fuck? These are Helldivers 2? Oh my god, never mind. Hang on. I was on the wrong thing the entire time. There we go. I'm stupid. So this only has 8,898 positive reviews. Hang on. What's the... Let me see. I'm fucking this up, guys. I'm sorry. I don't think this has a graph yet because it's too new. But anyway. So one of the first negative comments, I really hate it. I'm 7 hours in. I've avoided reviews and videos in order to give the game its fair shot, but I regret buying this game. It plays like a child's game. The new art style is giving me the uncanny valley effect, and I don't care about any of these characters. Every fight is tedious and boring, and as gorgeous as the world is, it feels empty because of how little you interact with it and how very linear the game is. There is no free roaming on the same scale as other games, no fun little NPC interactions, and it's been painfully sanitized to the point where I forget it isn't rated E. It doesn't feel like a Dragon Age game. I feel like I'm watching a badly done Disney cartoon while BioWare is holding my hand and spoon-feeding me air and condescension. I usually finish a game before I review, but I just can't force myself to keep playing this, which breaks my heart after the solid 10-year wait. I've opened this game twice. I just wanted to speed run through the last quest I was doing because I truly and from the bottom of my heart did not want to play this game, which is not something that happens very often. Next one, longtime Dragon Age fan, first Steam review. Damn, he was compelled to review for the first time because of this shit. Only has 4.7 hours on record. That's a shame. A few hours in and wishing I didn't buy this game. Many of the changes I can live with and no issues with diversity and representation, but the cartoonish character designs, that is the diversity and representation. The very thing you don't have a problem with, you have a problem with, bro. The cartoonish character designs, the cartoonish darkspawn, and campy dialogue and modern tone and voices are crimes against Dragon Age and other BioWare RPGs. That is the diversity and representation. So you might not know it, but you just contradicted yourself. It's kind of my thing, says my companion after tinkering with an incredibly ancient, mysterious elven device. Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Doesn't make any fucking sense. It's an ancient piece of tech that would not be commonly used. What the fuck do you mean it's just your thing? The reviews were right. Tonally inconsistent and changing/ignoring lore, send strong soft reboot vibes, blatant God of War ripoffs, turning to squeeze through narrow openings. Companions during combat are invincible, so I don't care about them at all. Neither do my enemies, apparently. Meaning that enemies do not target your companions. I've seen that. Seen another review that said that shit, and now they're saying it again. And it's annoying to have to constantly set up their powers. This game feels like some EA exec told the team to mash up Fortnite, Baldur's Gate, and God of War, and we ended up with the worst version of all three. Really, the only positive I have so far is that the game is absolutely gorgeous. That doesn't cut it anymore. We need a game that plays well, and is good looking. I'm not settling for one or the other. Consoles cost too much. Games cost too much. I need a complete package. Period. Really, the only positive I have so far is that the game is absolutely gorgeous. I've been invested in this story for over 10 years, so I'll see it to the end, but it will be with a sad, disappointed heart. Maybe I'll change this review in the future. Bro, do not buy a shit game just to see a story end. Just watch a playthrough. Don't do it. Just watch a fucking playthrough. Shit is not worth it. Disappointment and wasted potential. The Good runs very well, very smooth. Not a single bug or stutter in 12 hours of gameplay. In 12 hours of gameplay. The visual design of the levels and environments and the atmosphere of the big set pieces. They look and feel big and apocalyptic. Character creation. Visually has a lot of options and room to make your player character look the way you want. Hair in particular looks very lifelike. The Bad. The combat is mediocre at best, whilst the visuals and animations are quite flashy. It feels like a dumbed down version of Inquisition's combat. It gets boring and repetitive within a few hours. I turned the difficulty down after a few hours so I could get through it more quickly. Gone is the tactical combat and engineered party synergy of previous games. These are the cons. The story feels like it has the skeleton of compelling, intriguing narrative full of secrets revealed, moral ambiguity, and challenging decisions. However, it's like it's been simplified to the level of a child's cartoon or a by-the-numbers Phase 4 Marvel movie. This gets so frustrating because there are so many points that have the glimmer of a truly great and compelling RPG, but at every turn it feels like they fall short and fail to realize that potential. The the Dragon Age setting has been built up as such well-realized worlds with a compelling history full of mystery. Veilguard reveals answers a lot. God damn. I'm sorry. People need to learn how to write better. Veilguard reveals answers a lot of those mystery. Veilguard reveals answers to a lot of those mysteries, but how they do it cheapens and taints everything that came before. The gear reminds me of a bad Korean MMO. Combine duplicate gear to upgrade it and give it more stats? Really? Where's the going on an epic quest to find a legendary sword, etc.? The immersion and investment. The worst. The characters and dialogue. This is what I expect to be the high point of a BioWare game. So many times they have created compelling, well-drawn casts of characters that form a web of friendship, rivalry, romance, etc. that I couldn't help but get entangled in. In this, Veilguard fails completely. Many of the characters have a lot of potential and interesting concepts, but it's rolled flat by childish, wooden dialogue. Solas is the only character that is interesting at all, and much of that I suspect is just because of the build-up of the previous game. This is the biggest disappointment. The game totally failed to make me invested in any of the characters in any way. They might as well have been characters in a commercial. Conclusion. As a fan of the series, this is a huge disappointment ever since finishing Inquisition. I've looked forward to this game, yet now I've had to stop playing around 13 hours in because the game has just become a tiresome chore. Given that I replayed each of the previous installments multiple times, even Dragon Age 2, worse, this actively taints the previous games, knowing where all the tension and mystery they build is headed. Give this one a miss unless it's a massive discount. If you're interested in the story, just watch it on YouTube. So in essence, don't buy it at all. You just said the gameplay was ass. And to watch the fucking story on YouTube. Why would you say get it on discount? No, don't get it at all, motherfucker. Don't get it. Do not buy. Trash, avoid, do not buy. This person says, kinda shady that they only gave keys to biased reviewers and took them to Disney World as a bribe. Very bad for the industry. Wow. Writing that feels like someone put generic fantasy into ChatGPT and stale combat. Don't bother with it. Wow. This game is interesting. And not solely because of the heavy debate surrounding it, but because of how the game seems to have pivoted itself away from its cores. I'm not very far into the game, but one of the arguably worst things I noticed straight off the bat was the abandoning of Dragon Age Keep in favor of like 4 choices to carry over. There is nothing more insulting, more annoying, more disheartening than the abandonment of a decade's worth of gameplay and choices in what is meant to be a theoretical finish to the main narrative built up across 3 games. The copious amount of time and energy put into the previous games, including Dragon Age Keep choices from Inquisition simply being abandoned, is astounding. Why tee this game up as a successor to the Inquisition story if none of the main choices from the game matter except for literally 4 choices? Maybe there is some point in the game where we can pick these choices, but it doesn't seem to be the case from the onset. The graphical style isn't my favorite. I'm not the first and won't be the last to say this. 10 years since Inquisition, and the art style somehow got worse in an almost Patreon artist style of work. It looks like it is meant to cater to the Tumblr or DeviantArt users rather than the hardcore fan base who fell in love with the gritty, almost skeletal gauntness of Origins. The writing is already awkward and clunky. I never thought a game would make me iffy on hearing Barrick talk, but the words that come from his mouth seem awkward. Character interactions run like how I imagine a fanfic written by an annoying fanboy would go with, character interactions run like how I imagine a fanfic written by an annoying fanboy would go, with every sentence or interaction appearing to be so-called mic drop moment. The characters speak in a preachy, we have to save the world tone that fit more with the Messiah concept of Inquisition rather than the Rook is just some dude goal the game has set up from even the early marketing. You're not supposed to be the Messiah. That was the whole point. You're just some guy trying to do the right thing. Or just trying to make his way in the world. Well, actually, for this game, you're forced to be the good guy, so never mind. The new characters are probably some of the worst ever included, and that's mostly because their whole character is whatever their identity is. The characters don't exist outside of their identities. They are their identities. I think that whole concept is what has the alt-writers. I was with you for so long until you said alt-writers. You realize that by disagreeing with what this game does, you have become an alt-writer yourself. Like, that label doesn't mean anything. They just call whoever disagrees with them an alt-writer. Whatever. Continuing. I think that whole concept is what has the alt-writers in a tizzy. Because before, characters were gay, trans, or whatever, but that wasn't their character. It was simply who they were. Zevran's whole identity wasn't bisexual #slay. He was a lewd and morally gray individual. Krim wasn't the trans person. Krim was Bull's second in command, who also happened to be trans. By putting identity on the forefront, you're destroying the dimensions that make a character human, or at the very least, relatable. Am I, as a straight white male, not supposed to want to interact with my trans companion because that character wasn't made for you? You've been identified enough in video games, so suck it up cause #we exist. Why is the one-dimensional nature of the character praised simply because of the identity? Oh my god. Vivienne wasn't a black character. She was simply a character who happened to be black. Bringing up race, sexuality, gender, all for the goal of forcing the player to examine that issue is just weird. It's not for the narrative if you have to slap the player in the face with it. I feel the need to be even more clear on this. Pronouns at game start. A diverse cast of characters. Top scars is a customization option. None of these things bother me. Oh, dear God, bro. What bothers me is that the writers took a series I love and used it as an opportunity to preach at me, which worst of all sucks because the writing isn't even good. Why don't people understand that the small things are a part of the bigger picture? Like the top surgery scars and the deliberate inclusion of marginalized groups, quotation marks, marginalized groups, over more common ones like white people in a white majority nation. Yeah, that's part of all of that bullshit. That is the political messaging. Because you have to go out of your way to not include white people in a fucking Euro-inspired story. Or world. Or fucking genre. None of these things bother me. Like, it's part of the problem. Why doesn't it bother you? Like, the writing makes no sense without those things included. It'd be a different problem. Whatever. What bothers me is that the writers took a series I love and used it as an opportunity to preach at me, which worst of all sucks because the writing isn't even good. All this notwithstanding, I think the game is fun. Oh, wow. The customization options at start were great. I actually like the dark and purple vibe of the game. The combat is reinvigorating and refreshing, even if I hate having only 2 companions rather than the traditional 3. I wholeheartedly recommend this game to fans of a good RPG, but this isn't for those of us who spent 10 plus years playing a series to see our choices shown. That's the fun. Wow. I feel neglected as a fan. I feel that this game wasn't made for me. I feel that this game was made to market ideology, but more specifically, I feel this game was made to trigger incels, racists, and transphobes. Man, I'm none of those things, but I can see how they feel attacked. Is this even a real comment anymore? I think the lead on this had a goal in mind, and it was to specifically generate hate from the fringe and obsessive love from those they represent as a counterbalance to the hate. Buy the game, don't buy the game, I don't care. I'm going to have fun playing it, but I don't support the weaponization of one of my favorite series simply to prove something and to score political points. This shit just became some centrist bullshit. I'm leaving the comments open in case anyone wants to accuse me of being an incel, soy boy, transphobe, hater, etc. Or for those who want to have this conversation, that you can respect a group of people, their lifestyle, and be unbothered by them, but you don't want to be slapped in the face by identity at every turn. Why couldn't you just say that? Why'd you have to bring up racist, incels, transphobes? Like, why? What was the point? Why can't you just say this game is a piece of garbage because of heavy-handed political messaging and just leave it at that? You had to make it abundantly clear that, oh, the choices don't bother me. Yes, they fucking do. They bother you. Because they're part of the entire reason why you don't like the game. What the fuck? You left a negative review and then said, I'm having fun. What do you mean? Oh my God. Like, this is what cognitive dissonance looks like. You don't like it, yet you don't care if anyone buys the game, and you're having fun, but you left a thumbs down in the negative review. Whatever. Let's get some shorter comments, because that bitch was long. This game feels shallow, almost like I'm stuck in a group therapy session instead of truly engaging with the story or characters. Not playing, it's mostly watching videos of a bad story, waste of money, and it takes an hour to download the shade rendering. This shit is a fucking article. A disappointing step backward. That shit's long. Anything else? Let's read some of the positive reviews. Because that shit took a lot of fucking time to read. Holy fuck. Let's see if the positive reviews hand wave away the glaringly obvious fucking issues with this game. $7,000 plus positive to 2,000 plus negative. Okay. 8 out of 10 as a generic action RPG. 5 out of 10 as a Dragon Age sequel. 5 out of 10, bro. Are you serious? 5 out of 10, bro? Like, what kind of standards do you have? And the first line of this shit opens with a lie. Veilguard pushes the franchise further down the path it's been on since Dragon Age 2, diverging from the tactical combat and deep storytelling of Dragon Age Origins. Oh, diverging. That's not a good thing. Okay, let's see where he's going. In favor of a simpler, more broadly appealing action RPG formula. That's the problem. Stop trying to make shit for everybody. Veilguard is unapologetically action-focused, with limited roleplay options and narrative choices, and simplified combat and dialogue. Combat is flashy, with exaggerated attack animations and over-the-top high fantasy visuals and effects, While it does boast expansive skill trees for the 3 classes, RPG elements are overall reduced. That sounds great for a game that's supposed to be an RPG. You fucking recommended this shit. You recommended this RPG that has toned down RPG elements. That is where the credibility of this review ends. Veilguard returns to a linear episodic map structure after Inquisition's open world foray, which is effective, though some maps feel small and the platforming elements jumping around to solve puzzles don't quite fit. The writing is the real shortfall of this entry into the series, and a serious break from past title. What the fuck? So you left a positive review. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You recommend the game and you go in with negative diverges from what made previous games great. Simplifies the mechanics that people who are fans of this genre come to this game for. The writing sucks. You recommended this fucking game. Dear God. While the visuals try to retain the darkness, grit, and gore fans expect from this dark fantasy setting, Veilguard constantly undercuts the atmosphere with shallow, lighthearted storytelling, quippy one-liners, and cheesy dialogue. The game ignores huge swaths of the established lore and feels free to rewrite other parts to suit the current writing team, which will leave longtime fans with a sour taste in their mouth. It feels intended for a younger audience, leaning heavily on exposition and overly literal dialogue that spells out themes instead of allowing subtext. Dramatic moments are often undercut by moral lectures, sapping scenes of tension and subtlety. Anachronisms in language. Anachronism means that it uses language that doesn't belong in the time period. Like characters referring to their team, enemies as bad guys, or yelling warnings about snipers can pull players out of the medieval fantasy setting. Additionally, while the series' commitment to diversity is a positive, its presentation in Veilguard feels forced and overly pretentious. It's all forced and overly pretentious. All current pushes for all of the current pushes for diversity are forced and overly pretentious. All of them. So how the fuck is it a positive? Like, all of this is the first positive comment. This is the first recommendation for this game I've read, and it's done nothing but contradict its fucking self. All of the things, it's literally said that all of the things you would come to an RPG for, especially Dragon Age, have been diminished. Yet they recommend the game. How? How is this a credible review? The RPG elements are toned down. The story fucking sucks, even though that's half of the RPG experience. The combat is simplified. Where the fuck was I? While the series' commitment to diversity is a positive, its presentation in Veilguard feels forced and overly pretentious, detracting from the narrative flow. Is this what I wanted from Dragon Age? Not really. But on its own terms, it succeeds as a highly polished AAA. My fucking God. Are you serious? So you're not even reviewing, first of all, even standing on its own, it's shit. Even if this wasn't Dragon Age, it'd be shit. But first, you're not even going to review this game on the basis of it being a fucking sequel. Are you fucking serious? The entire review has been nothing but cons. outside of this stupid fucking numbers system about the technicality of the fucking game, you gave the story a 6 out of 10 and just bashed the shit out of it. This is a 6? Cognitive fucking dissonance, bro. You recommend a game that you didn't want. You didn't want whatever this game provided to Dragon Age, but you recommend it. On its own terms, it succeeds as a highly polished AAA action RPG. As an action RPG, it's enjoyable and impressively polished, and for that, I can recommend it. But for those hoping for the deep, layered role-playing experience of the past Dragon Age titles, Veilguard falls short of the mark. Anyone with half a brain would expect that from any video game, regardless of whether or not they're already a fan. Anyone who has taste wants a layered experience that doesn't treat them like a fucking lobotomite and actually challenges them as a player. Why the fuck isn't this review catered to people who play video games? That's what it sounds like. It sounds like this shit is catered to people who don't. And even they should read this and say, well, you recommend it, but this shit sounds bad. You don't make the game sound good at all. Fucking it. Ultimately, whether Veilguard is the Dragon Age experience you want is something only you can decide. Are you fucking serious? Is the game bad or not? You recommended this game and just talk shit about it the whole time. Except for the combat being flashy and exaggerated. Dear God. What? A solid entry. Graphics and combat are improved since DAI. Story is good so far. Oh boy. See, here's the thing. Even negative comments that are this short aren't really valuable. They're really not. Because they don't tell you any fucking thing. Feels overhated for what it is. Think some just want to be mad at gaming journalism. As an RPG, 7.5 out of 10. As a Dragon Age entry, 6 out of 10. Pros, love the combat, love the combo system. Like the factions, wardrobe system is nice. Can change your looks at any time after prologue. Game just looks really nice. Okay, fine. This is the exact opposite of what I've been seeing. The combat. I guess you just like bad combat. Alright. The writing is boring in some areas. Miss playing as teammates. Feels like... That's right, you could play as your teammates in Inquisition. They took that the fuck out. Feels like several old characters had to go to HR meetings. The tone of the times doesn't match the setting. Meaning that they use modern language in a medieval setting. If you are an old diehard fan, all I can say is it's nice seeing some of the world we only hear about in Codex Industries. The story thus far hasn't hit as hard yet. I don't find myself as disappointed as I was with ME. I don't know what that game is. This feels like it's meant to wrap some things up so they can set up for more down the line. This review doesn't really tell you anything. They personally like the combat. They like the combo system. This shit doesn't really tell you anything either. So far, the game is really fun. Combat feels smooth and satisfying. The writing is very generic in some spots, which is one of my few complaints. People who thought this would be like Dragon Age Origins are only fooling themselves. This series hasn't been the same since the first game. The graphics are actually gorgeous as well. Possibly the best looking game I've ever played. This is not the best looking game. There's no fucking way this is the best looking game you've ever played. I fucking refuse to believe that shit. Oh, what's up, Rudy? Nice of you to join me. He said, so basically Dragon Age gets the mutilation Fallout fans have gotten too used to since 2015. Yeah. It's I mean, Okay, I've only read 2 good reviews, but the 2 I've read have been very shallow. Well, 3 technically. I don't even count this one. This one's just too fucking short. The first one I read recommended the game, even though large portions of the game's experience they admit are not good or severely minimized. How the fuck does that work? And the final line of this fucking review is a cop out. Only you can decide whether or not you play the game. Like, oh my god, bro, is it shit or not? Everything you say makes it seem like it's shit. But nah, recommend, whatever. My god, bro. A lot of the positive reviews on this fucking game seem like they're written by people who don't have any fucking taste whatsoever, bro. I guarantee Kingdoms of Amalur is a better RPG than Dragon Age Veilguard. I would put my fucking nuts on it. I would. I think my biggest problem with the positive reviews so far is that none of them are reviewing this game as a fan of Dragon Age. Like, there seems to be this fucking need for all facets of entertainment for reviewers to separate a game by itself or a piece of entertainment in general by itself from something it's derivative of. Like, people keep saying, as a Dragon Age game, it sucks, but as a game by itself, it's pretty good. Like, no, bro, you can't separate those two things. It is a Dragon Age game, and if it sucks, it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. I've been guilty of doing that as well, but like with Dark Souls 2, I would say it's a pretty good game, but it's not a good Souls game. Nah, Dark Souls 2 is just shit. What's funny is that it's shit, but it's still better than most RPGs that came out that same year. That's what's really funny. Even when From Software lays a dud, it's still better than the competition. That's what's really fucking crazy. And Dark Souls 2 is a poorly made piece of shit of a fun game. Dear God. Let's check this one out. I don't know. I keep going back and forth between yes and no. It's fun, but there are a lot of moments where the writing and story decisions made are weak, and I've had a few moments. But it's fun, and I'm likely to spend 100 hours playing. Feels more like Inquisition in Origins, more epic than tragic. So you have mixed emotions about a game, but you recommend it. What? I think I've read enough comments, man. I've read enough comments. Honestly, outside of buying this game, the best I can tell you to do is go watch some gameplay of it. It will tell you everything you need to know. It will tell you everything that you need to know. Compare this game to Dragon's Dogma. Compare this game. Excuse me. Compare this game to Kingdoms of Amalur. Compare this game. God damn it, I got hiccups. Compare this game to Skyrim. Give me a second. Compare this game to Skyrim. Compare to this game to Chrono Cross. And I know that's turn-based, but still. Compare this to Dragon Quest. Compare this to any other RPG where the fan base has higher fucking standards. Compare this to Dark Souls, Elden Ring. If you look at this fucking game and say that this game is comparable to those, God help you. Compare this shit to Fallout, bro. The thing that gets me the most about this discussion are the people who know this game is shit to the point where they can't even hide the fact that it's shit anymore, which is going to happen with a lot more games. Yet they're still fucking trying. They're still trying to run interference for this fucking game. Like, I hate to admit it, but it's bad. Like, what do you mean you hate to admit it? What is with this bullshit ass allegiance to games? Why? And it's not even because you're a fan of the game. It's because you dislike the people who have been saying games like this are shit the whole time, or because the game has politics in it that you can't talk against or that you agree with. Motherfuckers can't just tell the truth without being upset that someone they don't like agrees with them. It's stupid. It's fucking childish, and I'm fucking sick of it. Entertainment was literally not made to be this fucking divisive. And that's the fucking problem. When you inject politics into anything, it becomes fucking political and divisive. That's been the problem with the entire industry since companies like fucking Sweet Baby and the other... Matter of fact, let me just find that list of the other agencies to put on screen, because it's more than just fucking Sweet Baby. They're just the most topical version of these stupid fucking consultancy firms. Hang on. Just so y'all know the fucking that there's more than Sweet Baby that exists, so that they can't fucking hide behind the fact that people name them a lot. Hang on, where the fuck are where's the list at? Matter of fact, let me just Dragon Age is on DEIdetective.com. Let me see. Sweet Baby actually wasn't even on Dragon Age Veilguard. It was a company called DEID. It's an internal company that works directly with BioWare, apparently. Oh, wait. Never mind. Never mind. DEID is the shorthand for Cabrutus's website. I'm bugging. They have BioWare has their own internal DEI consultants. Sweet Baby wasn't even on this. I'm still hunting for that list. Let me see. It's pretty hard to find a fucking list of companies. Holy shit. Oh boy. I might be able to find that shit on Twitter, which is sad. I should be able to Google some shit like that and just find it. Holy shit, I can't fucking find it. Synthetic Man is streaming Dragon Age fail cards. Hang on. Wow. Let me see. So I was finally able to generate a list, and let me fucking. Oh my God, there's a there's a fuck ton of them. Dear God. Gaming Diversity Alliance, Women in Games International, Black in Gaming, Out Making Games, Diversity in Games, the IGDA Foundation, uh, Jesus Christ, Girls Who Code, Latinx in Gaming, Game Devs of Color, Level Up, hang on. Let me see. All right, for the sake of accuracy, disregard that other list. I think I have a more accurate one here now. Let me see. There's a lot of them, bro. I have a list of fucking 20. Jesus Christ. The Equity Collaborative, Hearing Color, Diversity Ally, Cultural Intelligence Center, Coco and Breezy, The Inclusive Collective, BIPOC Executive Search, the COA Group, The Inclusion Solution, We Are All Human, The Collective Good, Kaleidoscope Group, Cultural Connect, Inclusive Insights, Verve Search, Diversity and Inclusion Strategy, Mosaic Consulting, Sardius Group, Ampersand, Edelman. There's a fuck ton more than Sweet Baby. That's really the point. That's really the fucking point. There's more than just Sweet Baby. So this shit's not going anywhere. Anyway, to get back to the original point I was making before that long ass search for a list. The thing that bothered me the most is that the people who are now forced to admit what's been in front of their very fucking eyes for this long can't just simply tell the truth. They have to put down the people that have been telling the truth the whole fucking time and make it seem like they're bad people or that their ideas lack validity, even though they're now agreeing with them. Because they don't want to admit defeat. It's just annoying. That was really the point. And we're going to see more and more decline as time goes on. Because honestly, the only thing that's really been in the news cycle, because it's still relevant and people still really want it, are video games. Is really it. Nothing about novels because nobody's bothering. Nothing about comic books really because nobody's bothering. And nothing about fucking movies because nobody's fucking bothering. Gaming is really the only thing that's still kicking in the news cycle because, I don't know, it's just something about video games that you can't fucking get rid of at this point. But for some reason, nothing involving the other things has appeared in the news cycle at all. Except for that one thing about NaNoWriMo, which I might do at some other point. But I wanted to discuss the other things, honestly, because they're more topical. Most people don't know what NaNoWriMo is. So I just decided to not speak on it. But we're at 2 hours and 3 minutes, and I think that's pretty much all that... That's pretty much all I think I can talk about without having this drag on for far too long. Reading the comments got a bit stale itself, so... Yeah, that's going to be it for this episode of the Monkey's Paw. I think we covered a pretty good range of topics. Keep an eye out for my review of Still Wakes the Deep. I'm still working on that. I'm actually going to be working on that right after I end this stream. And I'm probably going to be dropping a review of of a Disney Plus show that I've been watching. Once all the episodes are out and I watch them all again, I'm going to put together a review similar to how I did Velma. But yeah, man, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube things, and click the links in the description to keep your fingers on the pulse of Cosmogoth. This has been your gracious host, Kaine Walker. I'm signing off, and I will see you all again next time. Peace.